You know what they call one of these in England? A chair. No one's going to get that joke, but I get it, and hopefully some of you, probably not, but maybe one or two of you will get it. So, I got a neat package in the mail the other day. This from Cougar, which, not sure how well that's going to show up at this angle, but yeah, the Cougar Terminator chair. So let's get into this. Alright, so that's, I already looked at this much. That's what the chair will look like, although that's specifically the back, which, it's funny, it's called Terminator, and it makes me want to play Crysis. But I saw this. So these are the assembly instructions, just right in the back and nice and big. And now let's get to actually taking things out. All right, so we got the base here. So there's a couple of the legs. I'm gonna clean it all up a little bit later. I want to get pieces out, then worry about that. Layer of foam, the seat back. Oh, that is big and heavy. But at least it has a handle. Don't worry, I was careful, just cutting the tape. Oh. All right, there. So that's how that looks, and let me see, there's, according to the instructions, there's going to be a back bolster that'll go here if you don't want that open. A lumbar pillow that'll be down here, and a neck pillow that can go up here. I think that this just turns up and down. It doesn't have any lift to it. All right. Oh, and also, let me set it on here. The cover here is Cougar Hyper Dura Leatherette. Okay, so using that material for the cover, that I know I'd seen them talking about how it is much more durable than traditional leather would be. This looks like the neck pillow. So, a pretty typical mechanism there. And there's a zipper here, so you can look like open it up, although it doesn't have a pull tab on it. So maybe you're not really meant to pull that, open that up, like to wash it potentially, but you could. This would be a little awkward. All right. This I like. That's nice. This got all the things into this blister pack, so it's all nicely separated. It does come with a tool. Yeah, that's actually really convenient. Wow. All right. Okay. Oh no, this is the neck pillow. This must be the lumbar pillow, because this, being smaller, would make more sense at the neck. Oh, there's the tape. Same clip mechanisms for attaching it, and it does also have another zipper there without the tab on there to pull, so can be opened up, but might not be the easiest. Back bolster. They used a wide piece of tape for this. Okay. It is a plastic, but it is a foamy plastic, so it does squish and bend some, so... Okay. Yeah, so that actually just, like, is its own bendiness is what's applying the pressure, so in and out, that'll be very easy. I don't know if I will need that or the pillows. The cylinder, which will be like that. All right. Now more stuff to get out of the way. The casters. First step for assembly. So it's all basically this kind of foam here, just some of the pieces are like stacked and glued together. All right. Okay. So that's the multi-tilt function mechanism. So this will go right there, but not just yet. One of the two covers that will go here to hide the screws, and might not actually put those on right away because this is not the room it's going to live in. We're going to need to move it, and it might be easier if we can take the back off. There. And last, not least, certainly not, is the actual seat itself with 40, I don't remember all the controls, up, down, that's to rotate, oh, and also move forward and back, and I think there should also be something to allow it to go in and out. That's not it. Oh, no, it's right there. Okay. All right, and that's everything in the box. And yeah, I'll just, actually that'll be the easiest. Being very careful again. Okay, oh, and here's the control for reclining the seat back. Also can use the cutting edge of a knife. All right. So that's all of the pieces. So we will, I'll trim that off. So yeah, now to move things around so we can actually build it, since there isn't much room here with the box still right there. All right, so now we're actually gonna get to building the thing, which first step is casters in the base. So let's flip this over. And looking at these, you can see it's like the casters on my old chair, they weren't like all the way solid, but we actually do have filled in there, so they are more like actual solid wheels. But there's two of them. And actually, gonna get a quick picture of that. You never know what you're gonna use when you're writing up a review. There we go. I reach when you can spin it and bring it to yourself. All right. And that is step one. I also just realized there's no way to lock these wheels, which is fine, not that I really use them, or use that feature. Alright, so now, step 2, that to the side. This is going to be a little bit annoying. Alright, so it's this with the ones. I think... I'm trying to decide which is that of these. Oh wait, no, these are all ones. Yeah, and then these are the 2s. Okay, so yeah, you're gonna need those and this, specifically the base. That's as far down as that goes. Okay, so there. And it would be like that, because according to the picture, that's the front. I know that. And it's showing the handles being accessible like that. And that also makes sense, because this is the tension adjuster is normally in the front too. And well, here actually, there is like a felt pad right here, felt washer that must be glued to the seat base, so you don't have to worry about putting those in or anything like that. This is actually kind of interesting. We've got these screw holes here, but they don't go to anything. I wonder if that would be for a separate kind of design here, like something besides this version of the Terminator. We also have these back here. Or we suggest, so they have options for changing the mechanism. And let me also just quickly, that does fit. Okay. I have no reason to, but there is some slide to the arms. Why does that just keep turning? Ah, there we go. A little bit better than an Allen wrench. Not the most impressive plastic, but it's certainly better than just a straight Allen wrench. But yeah, I do wonder how much I would really get if I were to unscrew these and slide it out, but I don't see any reason to do so. All right. Alright, so that is step 2. Step 3 is the very simple putting this onto the base. So, bring this back over. Oh, nope. There we go. So that's all the way up, down. It's actually, I'm kind of wondering what the normal amount of height adjustment is there. This actually feels pretty nice. And then this is just it being able to lean back, which is weird to do without the seat. Yeah, that locks it. Right. Next step, putting the back on. Alright, so as you can see, I already set the back on. It's not completely installed yet. I'll show you why. It's a little bit awkward. So we've got these felt washers here that came in here, and actually the drawing is a little unclear. So there's multiple washers. There's this metal washer, this locking ring, and then the screw there, but it's like these, it looks like you put them on there, but why when this is metal and this is metal? I think these are replacements for these, because we also have this backing here that I can probably peel off and we'll find the adhesive from these. But it's just, this is kind of awkward because there was some little distance from, here to here initially. I bent this out a little bit because it was basically right against the plastic. Then when first trying to slide it on here, not these felt washers, but the ones on the other side, got completely pushed out of place. So I had to take it off, put those back, and then I just braced my arm there and bent this out a little bit. Nothing too damaging, but it's just like you see the edge here. That is, the metal was right up against that. It was not on the other side though, so I know that being in this angle is fine. All right, so now just to pivot it back in to proper place. I think I started to cross thread. There we go. Yeah, that's much better. Oh, and this screw hole, by the way, will be for these screws, but I'm not going to do that yet. This is for holding the cover on, but because we might need to do some disassembly to move this up a bunch of stairs and such, yeah, it'll be helpful to wait on that. Okay, and okay, that's in there fine. That pop, I'm fairly certain, was just the locking mechanism just snapping a little bit. There. All right. So with this, aside from the covers, which would be like that, just need the screw in here, and then we have caps to cover the hole. Aside from that, and the pillows, the optional pillows and the back bolster, this is done. So it has been 2 weeks since putting together the Cougar Terminator. And I do need to do some pickup because I didn't set the mic right last time when I was talking about how, we have the different features with the armrests here, like the buttons here squeeze in and you can move forward and back, and also turn left and right, and like that. Does help if you actually push all the way in. You can also slide them in and out, and there's levers here that you can use to raise and lower, but I want them at this height, so I don't really want to move them at the moment. And also, right here is where the lever is to recline. And then we also have the lever here to control the vertical adjustment lever over here for locking the leaning. So there. We'll leave it locked for this. All right. So yeah, it's been 2 weeks with this, and I have been liking it. I have been enjoying it. It is quite comfortable. It is nice to have a actual working cushion on a chair again. One thing with it that I've noticed is, at least for the denim of my jeans, it actually doesn't really like me to slide around on it. So if you're somebody that's fidgety, that might be a problem. I've gotten used to it. I used to have to shift around on the old chair, but that I think was probably because the cushion was not really a cushion anymore. But even if I do need to move around, it's easy enough to just raise yourself up with the armrests. Yeah, the material still feels very nice. One thing that I noted in the 24-hour, so the first 24 hours with the chair portion of the review, see how this is embroidered here? Initially, I actually could feel that, and it felt different than the portion over here and over here. I've already, I don't even know if it was much past the 24 hours. I stopped noticing that when I put my head back, so I can tell it's different, but it doesn't feel like it's a different softness, which is kind of how it felt initially. One thing that I don't know if I mentioned it in the previous parts of the recording about the armrests is that there is a curve to them like this. There's also one this way that may or may not be to your liking. it's very subtle. It is very subtle, but sometimes I'll notice if I'm like this, I'll try turning that like this, the pressure it puts on my arm sometimes can be uncomfortable. Sometimes, though. It does depend on the specific angle. But that is something to potentially be aware of. I think, personally, I would like it if it were more along this axis flat. The side to side, that's fine. The curve there is fine. But forward and back, I think I would like it if it were a little flatter so that we didn't quite have this lip, because that's what is pressing it when it does. Another thing I want to show is we have the curve here, and this is something I was curious about after building it, and I very quickly checked it, but it wasn't in the video, is that, when my head is there, I can, comfortably turn left and right. But what about with headphones? These are my normal headphones, and I have some, few degrees, but not too much. This, however, is, full headset, so it's much larger there, and yeah, there's basically no movement. I don't know how much you might, actually have your head back in the headrest and want to move it. Say I would think most people would be about here where not even using the headrest. But it is something to be aware of if you do suspect that you would be leaning back and you have a rather large pair of headphones. These specifically are the SteelSeries Arctis 7, I believe. It's been a while since I got them. Whereas these are the COS Pro 4S. And these are actually wired. I can just unplug it, and did. That's part of the reason why these are so much smaller than these, which would be wireless, so there has to be a battery and antennas in it. This, I've not needed to put the filler in there. I've also not needed to use the pillows. I don't even notice this, basically, for me. If you're shorter, my brother, he's a little bit shorter than me. He can actually feel that. His back does align to hit it, but I don't. My mother also tried sitting in it, and she is appreciably shorter than me, and for her back as well, she doesn't really even notice it. So, just because I can believe that is something some people may find odd. And there's that filler for it, the back blocker, I believe is what they called it. But I don't need it. I'm completely comfortable without it there. With it there, I might actually find it a little bit uncomfortable at this point. But no, my back spans that perfectly. It's not an issue at all. One thing also that I have noticed, though, with it being, a couple weeks, so settling into the channel, that it does have some give left and right like that, which makes sense because of how you have the spine and the pieces mounted to it here and then here. Now, yes, this is technically all one piece. I refer to it kind of like to a top and bottom. It is actually one piece, but because of this, you can, have some torque to it. I don't consider that any kind of problem. I'm just acknowledging that it is there. And sometimes, there might be a little bit of creaking, but it's, as I said, I'm acknowledging it. I don't consider anything wrong with that. It's just, going to be how it is. In fact, having that little bit of give is probably more comfortable than not. There's also a little bit like that. I'm not sure, actually, if the mic is picking it up here. Basically, same kind of thing, a little bit of creaking to the reclining mechanism, because I'm leaning back a little bit and then leaning forward, so it's doing that. Just trying to think if there's anything else, but there really isn't, because a lot of the impression from the first 24 hours is still very true. It is nice and comfortable. The seat cushion is still pretty firm, not uncomfortably firm, but it is, it holds its shape very nicely. I've not noticed any change to the material, like it's stretching or whatever, because I've been sitting on it. Maybe that'll happen after more than 2 weeks, but it's like not even a hint. If I get up, it doesn't look like anything has changed with it at all. It doesn't look like I've sat on it at all. I'm just trying to think. Is there anything else to really mention? Nothing much is coming to mind. I do definitely like the ability to recline right now I think it is 1 notch back. Yeah, sometimes I do need to go 1 notch forward because I might not be sitting correctly. But typically, yeah, there. So this is 1 notch back. This is how I like it. Typically, I'll be working like this. So yeah, I've got a spare keyboard. So in like this, where I'm a little bit further forward, so I might not have actually much contact with the back of the chair, and after a while, my back may start to hurt. Well, what I can do then is just pull it forward that 1 notch all the way forward. So now I do have that lumbar support. Maybe grabbing the pillow would work just as well, but without having to adjust it. But it does work very well. I do like this lumbar support, and it's very nice to have that flexibility of going forward and back. Yeah, I don't know how you'd actually need the additional pillow there, but because for this is very good support for me as is. Still have not had any need for the neck pillow because my neck kind of aligns with the gap that the pillow doesn't go in. But yeah, I am very happy with it. It is very nice, very comfortable. And it's, one thing that, because I think I may have I know I talked about it in what I wrote. I don't remember if I talked about it in the previous part. One thing is that how my shoulders rest on this. What I noticed in that first 24 hours was I'm broad enough that it's like my shoulders are going past this line here, which is like the line where it curves, just like how this line up here on the headrest. My shoulders reach past that. So it actually, how it was initially, it felt like I was either being pushed off of the back, or I'd have to, I'm exaggerating, but be like this to actually have full back support. That's not the case. I've already gotten used to that. But one thing that has occurred to me is because this is actually pretty wide, and it's not that aggressive a curve. There are some chairs that, at least from what I've seen, because this is the first nice chair like this I've ever owned, but some that I've seen where the ridge that goes up, I could believe that actually would be even smaller. So while initially it felt like this wasn't the perfect width for how broad I am, I could believe that those other chairs would be far worse. Would be that I'd actually be resting on the cushion or needing to push into the ridge on that cushion. So this is actually probably very good for me. Of course, I don't know how broad I am compared to anyone else, but if you are somebody who is somewhat broad across, then yeah, that is something you may want to be aware of and consider. I'm just thinking that it rolls fine, it spins just fine. It's a very comfortable and well-made chair. You do have a little bit of wiggle room on the armrest, but I have a feeling that there is absolutely nothing anyone could do about that. That it's just there's gonna be a little bit, which is also fine because maybe you want to adjust it. You want that little bit of play. It's just again something I notice, and am acknowledging. Speech impediments are fun, aren't they? I think that's it. So yeah, I do like it. I'm very thankful that Cougar was willing to send this out to me to review. I'm gonna keep using it, and yeah, it's a very nice chair. It is kind of big, but hey, when you're also kind of large at 6'4", it's nice to have a bigger chair. All right, that's all.